Okay, did you read yesterday's portions? So I am revising that constraints of hegemony. So constraints to American hegemony lie within the US. So which are the three constraints that are coming from US itself? First one, the institutional architecture. That means the division of powers between the three organs of government. So because of this system of division of power, they are checking, the other organs are checking the unrestrained and immoderate exercise of military power by the executive. Then second constraint, open nature of American society. So yesterday we studied that the American society always makes healthy criticism on the actions of their government. So for each action the government is also vigilant. Then the third constraint coming from outside, and that is the NATO. NATO has the power to moderate the exercise of US hegemony, and the US has interest in the alliance of democracies. Why US has interest in this alliance of democracies under NATO? Because the democracies in this NATO, they follow market economies alive. So these allies can moderate the US hegemony. So these are the three constraints on the US hegemony. Then yesterday we discussed India's relationship with the US. So we covered that during the time of Cold War, India was slanted towards USSR, and after the disintegration of USSR in 1991, India became friendless in the international politics. And in 1990s, India began to change its economic policy, or India started the liberalization policy in its economic policy. So after changing the economic policy, India got some economic partners in the international world, and including US. Many other countries were there. So the US, the hegemon power, was one of the partners, economic partners of India. So recently two new factors came in the Indo-US relations. So which are these two new factors that came in Indo-US relations? First one relate to the technological dimension. First factor relate to the technological dimension. Then the second factor relate to the role of Indian American diaspora. So what is diaspora? Migrants. Remember, so these two factors are interrelated, and we checked how these two factors are interrelated. First point, US absorbs about 65% of India's total software exports. US absorbs about 65% of India's total software exports. Then 35% of technical staff of Boeing is of Indian origin. Then 3 lakh Indians are working in Silicon Valley. Then last point, 15% of all high-tech startups are by Indian Americans. Then which are the 3 possible strategies to deal with the US hegemony? 3 possible strategies to deal with the US hegemony. So, one group of Indian analysts are fearful of the closeness relations between India and the US. They prefer to maintain, or they suggest India to maintain aloofness from the US and increase comprehensive national power, or to increase our own influence. Then second group of Indian analysts, political analysts, they suggest that it is a historic opportunity for India, because now there is convergence of interests among India and the US. So India has to maintain good ties with the US. India has to maintain good ties with, India has to utilize this opportunity and has to maintain good ties with the US. And if India oppose, it will hurt in the long run, or it will affect the future politics of India in international world. Then third one, the third group of political analysts, they suggest that India has to form a coalition. Under the leadership of India, a coalition should be formed. Coalition of developing countries. And India has to take the lead of this coalition. If that coalition is powerful, we can challenge. That coalition of developing countries can challenge the US hegemony. So, up to this portion we studied. So, our last topic from this chapter, how can hegemony be overcome? So, there is, in the present world, there is US hegemony. How can this hegemony be overcome? So, international politics, there is no more options. In international politics, there is no more options to curtail the exercise of military power by any country. In a country, if there is a problem, there is one government to control everything. But in international politics, there is no government. So international politics is the politics without government. International politics is politics without government, and under this system, there is no more options to curtail or to reduce the exercise of military power by any country. Why? There is no world government to control. So, international organizations are there. You already studied about UNO, then former one League of Nations. So, many international organizations were there, and now also it is there. But these international organizations cannot work as world government. These international organizations are just peace organizations. They cannot function as a world government. But still, there are some rules, and these rules are called laws of war. But these laws of war just restrict war, not prohibiting war. So, international politics means politics without government. Why it is called politics without government? Because in international politics, there are no more options to curtail the exercise of military power by any country, because there is no world government to control all these things. And international organizations are there, but they cannot function as world government. They just work as peace organizations. There are several rules regarding this war, and these rules are called laws of war, but these laws of war restricting war, not prohibiting. And still the US is exercising hegemony in all fields because there is no power near balancing the US militarily. Military coalition is not possible. If other countries decide to form a military coalition, most of the time it doesn't come possible, or it is not possible because there are differences of opinions among these nations. So the other strong nations like China, Russia, India, they can't reach a coalition, they can't form a coalition because there are differences among these nations. So in the international politics, there is no power near balancing the US militarily. If some countries want to make coalition, it doesn't come possible because of the differences. For example, a coalition can't be formed among India, China, Russia because of the existing differences. So some strategies are suggested to overcome this US hegemony, and one such strategy is bandwagon strategy. So according to a group of political analysts, the countries have to utilize the opportunities that hegemony creates. So the hegemon power creates so many opportunities, and these opportunities can be utilized by the other powers. Don't engage in activities opposed to the hegemonic power, because if the less powerful countries oppose this hegemonic power, then they have to face some reactions. So it is good to extract benefits by operating within the hegemonic system. So what is bandwagon strategy? According to this strategy, the lesser powers or the other powers of the world, they have to utilize the opportunities created by the hegemon power, and these lesser powers don't engage in activities opposed to the hegemonic power, and it is good to extract benefits by operating within the hegemonic system. Example, to raise economic growth rate, increase trade, then technology transfers, investments, all are needed. So it is easy for the less powerful countries to work with the hegemon power. If they work with the hegemon power, definitely they can increase the economic growth rate of their own countries. So here the example for bandwagon strategy: to raise economic growth rate, increase trade, technology transfers, investments should be needed. So if the less powerful countries are working with the hegemon power, they will get all mute your system. They have to work with the hegemon power. So example, to raise the economic growth rate, increase trade, technology transfers and investments are needed. So they have to work with the hegemon power. If they work with the hegemon power, powerful countries have to work with the hegemon power. If they join with the hegemon power, definitely they would get all these benefits that would help to increase the economic growth of their own countries. So after bandwagon strategy, the next strategy, hide strategy. So hide strategy means staying as far removed from the dominant power as possible. Hiding. Okay, staying as far removed from the dominant power as possible. So actually this hide strategy is possible only for the small states. So this hide strategy is attractive and viable policy for the small states, but not possible for our country, India, then Russia, China, etc. Then huge agglomerations like European Union. So these powers, the mega states like India, Russia, China, then the organizations like European Union cannot follow this hide strategy. Only small states can follow this hide strategy. So hide strategy, staying as far removed from the dominant power as possible. So resistance to US hegemony is not from powerless states but from non-state actors. So resistance to US hegemony sometimes come from non-state actors. So these challenges are from the economic and cultural realms. So economic and cultural realms means here the combination of NGOs, social movements and public opinion, then media, intellectuals, artists, writers, etc. So resistance to US hegemony from non-state actors, it's a combination of NGOs, social movements, public opinion, media, intellectuals, artists, writers, etc. So now I am moving to the last part of our chapter. It is said that we are living in a global village. So all the nations are neighbors in this village, and the village headman, if the village headman's behavior is intolerable, how can we overcome that nature? Only through resistance. So in this global village there are many nations, then the hegemon power, if the behavior of the hegemon power is intolerable, then we have to follow the policy of resistance. Okay. So last topic, how can hegemony be overcome? International politics means politics without government. So in international politics there is no more options to reduce the exercise of military power by any country, and there is no world government to control. But still there are some international organizations, but these international organizations cannot function as a world government. These are peace organizations, and we will study about these international organizations later in this same textbook. So there are some rules called laws of war, and these laws of war restricting war but not prohibiting wars. So no power is there near balancing the US militarily, and if we make military coalition, sometimes it doesn't come possible because of the differences among other nations. So because of the differences among nations like India, China and Russia, these are considered as powerful nations of the world next to US. These nations cannot reach a coalition, a military coalition, because there are some differences among these nations. Then some strategies are suggested here to overcome the US hegemony. And first strategy, bandwagon strategy. According to the political analysts, the countries have to utilize the opportunities that hegemony creates. Don't engage in activities opposed to the hegemonic power. You already studied what will be the reaction if any country attack or if any country oppose the US. We already covered. So don't engage in activities opposed to the hegemonic power, and it is better to extract benefits by operating within the hegemonic system. So example for bandwagon strategy: to raise economic growth rate of a country, some factors are needed. Increased trade is needed, technology transfers needed, investments are needed. So if these countries join with or work with the hegemon power, they would get these benefits. That is the bandwagon strategy. Utilize the situation. Okay. Utilize the facilities created by the hegemon power. Then hide strategy, staying as far removed from the dominant power as possible. But this can be possible for small states, but for mega countries like India, Russia, China, this hide strategy is not possible, and also for huge agglomerations like European Union. So resistance to US hegemony. Sometimes resistance to US hegemony comes from non-state actors. Okay, comes from non-state actors, not from powerless states. So these challenges are related to the economic and cultural realms, and it's a combination of NGOs, social movements and public opinion, then media, intellectuals, artists and writers. Then last one, through resistance we can overcome the US hegemony. If the behavior of this hegemon power or US is intolerable, all other countries have to resist. So through global village it is explained. So there are some homework questions. How long will hegemony last? Then how do we get beyond hegemony? There you have to write that how can we overcome the US hegemony. Then explain the 3 types of US hegemony and give examples for each. Then that hard power, structural power, then soft power, and include examples also. Then analyze 3 different views about the type of relationship India should have with the US. Yesterday we studied. Analyze 3 different views about the type of relationship India should have with the US. Then last question, resistance is the only option available to overcome the hegemony. Justify the statement by comparing it to other anti-hegemony strategies. So that is the last topic. Then one cartoon is given here. So here the US will stay on the superpower stage. So the US exercises the hegemon power. It is staying on the superpower stage till the rest of the world is resistant with the US. And the mega states like China, India, Russia and European Union follow the strategy to hide. Then China is a mega state who can stand at par US hegemony if it accommodates its full potential for the same. So in the present scenario, who can come forward to resist the US hegemony? Only China can resist the US hegemony. Otherwise, it is needed to form some coalitions. So China is a mega state who can stand at par US hegemony if it accommodates its full potential for the same.